And welcome back to my channel. Unless you're new here, and then just welcome. My name is Rusty, and this is my channel where I talk about my favorite movies, mostly horror, and my favorite music, mostly metal, and I am still in the middle of the flu. Haven't had the flu since I was a teenager. I'm not handling it very well. So I'm going to try to get through this without playing a scene from Matt Damon's Contagion? Or Stephen King's The Stand. I swear I've got Captain Trips. But, yeah, so I'm trying to find a couple of little things to do. I'm on all kind of steroids, antibiotics, cough suppressants, all kind of crap. Yeah, so if I start hacking like I'm dying of Captain Trips, you know what's going on. So I figured, trying to think of some little something to do, and I thought, I'd like to talk about movies that people hate that I love. So welcome to the top 10 black sheep horror movies that I've mostly run across hate for that I happen to adore. Now, I don't mean, oh, it's not quite as bad as people think, or, oh, it's okay, it's not as bad as people say. No, in coming up with my criteria, I thought, I want stuff that I've really heard, like, a lot of shit about, but that I really, really love. Like, not just think it's a little better than people think, but, so I kind of went through my collection and I picked out some stuff that I'm like, yeah, that got a lot of shit. And I don't just like it, I love it. I really, really love these movies, and for whatever reason, and anybody who's been around my channel knows that I am very big into B-horror and indie horror, and I've got a lot of forgiveness, and, so some of these won't be a surprise, and it's not surprising at all. So there's plenty of others as well, but these are the ones that I've chosen. So we're going to start off with a few honorable mentions. And we are going to begin with 2023's Winnie the Pooh. Now, I liked Winnie the Pooh from the very beginning. I know that there's a lot of people who's jumped on the bandwagon now, They really like the second one, but I can't wait. It's 2 months before it comes out on Blu-ray. I am already ready to get Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey 2, but I loved this from the very beginning. This is the Steelbook of Winnie the Pooh. I liked it the first time that I saw it. I love Christopher Robin. I love the whole movie. It's perfect, my cup of cheese. And then I love the special features. As I said in my review, a video of it, I loved the story. I loved it. It's a real indie horror triumph. The way that it started out as nothing with $30,000, and then it went viral, and the interview with the director and the cast when they found out they had went viral in America and that everybody was all over it. They managed to secure some more funding to do some more reshoots. And I really love it. I love Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey. I don't care what anybody said, just like all of the other movies that I don't care what anybody says. So, yeah, honorable mention, Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey. And next we have, let me grab this thing. Okay, let's do a couple of movies here. We have 2008's Day of the Dead. Yes, I know you have just fallen on the floor, but I actually, I love this movie. I even did, I haven't done a lot of lives or anything, but, I don't know, a year ago or something like that, if you go to my live section, I actually, in the middle of the night, 2 a.m., the day I got this, I ended up I just went live on YouTube all by myself, and I sat and watched it, and I talked all kind of shit all the way through it, and I had so much fun with this movie that I just became enamored with it. I absolutely love it, and it goes side by side with The Breed. Now, The Breed is Wes Craven's The Breed. Michelle Rodriguez. Both of these have been shit on a lot, and I don't like that at all because I actually love both of these movies. I think that, and this is Wes Craven's first appearance in this list. He will be back for more. But I have a great deal of fun with these movies. Now, I looked for a long, long time trying to get them on Blu-ray, and they are pretty much impossible to get on their own. However, this is floating around, and I didn't know that. So when I ran across this, I was like, you've got to be kidding me. I have been trying for so long to get these two movies on Blu-ray, and we have this double feature. They're on their own discs. These are Blu-ray discs. So, although it is, pretty much impossible, look at the color change. Cameras are so funny. Anyway, but when I ran across this is really cool because I had tried for so long to get these two movies on Blu-ray and then ending up finding them in a double pack on their own discs. So yes, if you are a fan of either of these movies, you may not can find them individually on Blu-ray, but you can find this double feature, and I absolutely love it. I love Michelle Rodriguez, I love the cast, I love the story, and I love Day of the Dead. I'm sorry, I'm not one of those people. I don't play mob rules. I don't follow the pack. I don't follow the crowd. It's probably why I love independent horror so much, is because I'm very independent myself, and I don't really give a fuck what people say about a movie. If they love it and I hate it, cool. If they hate it and I love it, cool. Your loss. Same thing they say about me when I hate shit they like. But yes, Day of the Dead, hilarious. I've actually, recently I actually went back and watched my live and laughed at myself laughing at this movie. So, yes, The Breed, Wes Craven's The Breed, a fantastic movie. And 2008's Day of the Dead, hated cheese, but to me, they are fantastic. And that brings us to 2013's Stranded. Everybody's always shitting on my boy. I wish you people would stop shitting on my boy. Okay? Now, it's not like he's over at Asylum doing movies with C. Thomas Howell, for God's sakes. But Christian Slater, I like his, he's sort of like Nicolas Cage, when, Nicolas Cage is in some really big movies, and then he's in this plethora of little out-of-the-way movies, and yet everybody's always shitting on Christian Slater, and I'm like, fuck you. He's got a couple of others that I love as well that fall into this category, like Playback. If you go to my catalog and reverse it to the oldest videos, his movie Playback was one of the first, in that first week or two when I changed my channel into this and started doing film discussions. His movie Playback is one of the first movies that I did. And, so like if you reverse my catalog back to when, I was posting Sims 3 and Sims 4 stuff and stuff, when I changed it to movie reviews or started doing movie reviews, Playback was one. Now, Stranded is sort of kind of like a little kind of Alien clone, kind of, where there's 4 people, these 4 are like stuck on a, is it Mars or the moon? No, I think it's the moon. But anyway, they get a virus, like a fungal virus that like transforms one of them. And it like, gestates inside the girl, and it turns into this creature that takes cloning material from one of the other guys, and it's just it's all special effects, which are fantastic. Like, I don't recall any CGI in it, but this is a really good movie. I had a lot of fun with this movie. And people are like, ooh, Christian Slater shit, Christian Slater B-movie shit. And I'm like, you can kiss my ass, because this movie is really good. When contact was lost, something else was found. Yeah, it was. I loved the cast. I remember him. Isn't that Brendan Fraser? I remember him. But then there's Christian Slater, there's a girl, and there's the other guy. And I love the transformation of the creature, and it doesn't end well either. Well, yeah, it does. It kind of does. Anyway, you'll have to see it. But yeah, this is Christian Slater Stranded. I tell you now, I demand you stop shitting on my boy. Just stop shitting on my boy. I love this movie. It's very underrated, and it's a very good little B-movie. And there you go. So now we're going to move on in to the actual top 10. Now I was like, well, what kind of criteria, are you going to use? And I'm like, well, I don't know, like level of controversy or level of disparity of love and hate. Could that be it? So I don't really know exactly what kind of order they're in, other than that's the way I tried to do it. I'm like, well, the level of people, the horror community's hatred versus my love, plus the controversy squared. And here we have at number 10, we have Rob Zombie's Halloween films. Halloween 1 and 2 from Rob Zombie. Now, if you've been around my channel for any length of time, you know that I hate Rob Zombie, actually. I don't like him as a person. I can't stand his music. Yes, I'm a metalhead, but I don't like Rob Zombie. Or what's his band? White Zombie? Whatever. I don't like his music. As a matter of fact, I like his song Dragula, but actually I prefer the remake that was done for the movie Haunt a lot better than his version, to tell you the truth. But I have serious issues with Rob Zombie personally as a person, and I have serious issues with some of his filmmaking, especially his imbalanced nudity. I really have issue with that. He's a pig, and I don't like him. However, I do like some Rob Zombie movies. I'm especially fond of 31. I don't know why. I went out of my way. I had the Blu-ray. I went out of my way, though, and got the Steelbook. It's one of my favorite Steelbooks, is Rob Zombie's 31. It's beautiful. I like the Firefly trilogy. And I love Halloween 1 and 2. I do have issue with the nudity in these movies. But then again, that's Rob Zombie. I hate him as a person, but I love these two movies. And a lot of people shits on it, and I don't. I like Halloween 1 and 2 by Rob Zombie. I even like 2. And I have no problem with the horse, the unicorn shit that people complain about. I get it. Don't you get it? How can you not get it? It's alright. Anyway. But I have no problem with Halloween 1 and 2. I like the way Rob Zombie did it. And I like the way he persevered through all the shit, especially making number 2. I wish he wasn't such a sexist, egotistical, misogynistic pig. But at the same time, you have to overlook some things. So yes, at number 10, we have Rob Zombie's Halloween 1 and 2, hated by a lot in the horror community, but adored and loved by me. I love this new unrated. I finally got the unrated versions on Blu-ray with this steelbook. So yes, Rob Zombie's Halloween 1 and 2 coming in at number 10. At number 9, we are now going to talk about Quarantine. Specifically Quarantine 2. But I threw this in because we're going to have a little discussion about this. So first off, let's do the, oh my god, I hate it. Everybody's got their issue with the horror community and each other. We all have issues with each other. One of the things that I hate most about the horror community is sometimes the stuck-up elitism. And one of those is the foreign movie shit. I get so fucking tired of hearing that. It's like, no, it can't be Josh Brolin in Oldboy. No, you have to watch the original. Oh, Cry Me Baby Shoes. No, well, no, that's not true, actually. You see, the original Oldboy, the Japanese one, Korean, Chinese, whatever the hell it is, it's great, it's wonderful, it's fine. I don't want to read a bunch of subtitles. But I like the Americanized version. I love Josh Brolin in Oldboy. Oh no, it can't be Buffy in The Grudge. It's got to be Jung Gong, or whatever the fuck that movie's called. It's got to be Ju-on, or whatever. And I'm like, no, it really doesn't. It doesn't. I don't have any problem with them. So stop having problem with the Americanized version. I love all three Grudge movies. I think the third one is severely underrated. I like Grudge 2. I love the unrated, which I didn't know existed until recently, actually. But I didn't know that there was an unrated director's cut of the original Grudge with Sarah Michelle Gellar, but I got it. So that brings us to Wreck. Wreck. Oh, it's Wreck. Wreck is like wonderful. Yeah, it is, actually. I have no problem with Wreck. Wreck is a fantastic movie, and so is Wreck 2. I even recently got that Wreck 3 Genesis, which is a standalone, has nothing to do with the other two. But stop trying to make me think that I have to. It has to be Wreck over Quarantine. No, it doesn't. It really, really doesn't. I like Quarantine over Wreck, but I love Wreck just as much as I love Quarantine. Now let's talk about Wreck 2, or Quarantine 2. The reason that I love Quarantine 2 so much, she is so cool. I love the 13-year-old boy that becomes like, I love this movie. I just love this movie. This movie is so good. I wish I could find it on Blu-ray. But when it comes to Wreck and Quarantine, Quarantine is sort of like the Psycho remake. It's a shot-by-shot, which is pretty okay. Which is fine with me. It's the direction. In Wreck 2, the demon worm. In Quarantine 2, the virus. So, when it just turns out that I prefer my zombies to be viral. I really, even though I loved Wreck 2, when it came to the end and it turned out that they took this supernatural possession demon worm thing, I really didn't like that. Quarantine did not go that way. Quarantine pivoted into a virus like it should be. I like my zombies viral, not demon possessed and demon worms. I really didn't care for Wreck 4. It was just a continuation of that story. And the point is, I really prefer the viral zombie to the demon worm. I just don't care about the demon worm shit. So once again, it doesn't have to be Wreck. It can be Quarantine. Now, Quarantine 2 is so underrated. in my opinion. The movie is fast paced. I love the gore. I love the effects. I love the storyline. I love the way that the first half of the movie has a couple of people as the lead. Then she becomes the lead. And this 13-year-old boy whom you thought was just a, medium character, her and him end up becoming the two leads. So you sort of had a switch up of the leads in this movie, which I thought was really cool. Then when the movie ended and you thought she was going to be the final girl, and it turns out there is no final girl, this is one of those movies with a final boy. The way that it set it up for a sequel, I tell you, there would be a lot of people who would be very happy if I was like a billionaire, because we would already have a Quarantine 3, because they set it up for such a great sequel. And it's a shame that it never got. But then again, the horror community's that way. They shit on things that they shouldn't shit on. So this is Quarantine, and especially Quarantine 2 Terminal. This is a absolutely fantastic, underrated movie that I adore. I love everything about it. Scary, bloody, claustrophobic fun. It is. I absolutely love this movie. And I don't care about all the people who have shed on it. It is first-class terror. And, I will stand by it. And I will also stand by my other thing, and that is that you can like those foreign movies and not shit on the American remakes. And it's just, I don't know. When I see you doing it, especially when I see you doing it continuously, I'm not impressed. I don't know, you may think you're impressing people, but I'm not impressed at all. I am not impressed. Because I'm not. So now we're going to move on to number 8. And that is Cabin Fever, Patient Zero. So yeah, I've seen a lot of people shit on it. It has fantastic practical effects. I definitely, old Sean Astin shows up and shit. You don't expect him. And I don't dislike Sean Astin. I liked him. He's in a movie called Toy Soldiers. That's where I first ever saw him, with Will Wheaton from Star Trek and all. Then, of course, he was the little fat, pudgy thing in Lord of the Rings. And, but, I don't have an issue with him. However, a lot of the special features in Lord of the Rings, I was very embarrassed for Sean Astin, the way that he acted, not as an actor. I'm just like, personally. His personality, he's just, I don't know. I got embarrassed for him during a lot of the special features. Oh, I don't know. I feel weird about kissing someone on screen because my girlfriend might get mad. I'm like, oh my fucking God, dude, please. So I was like actually embarrassed for Sean Astin in a lot of the special features in Lord of the Rings, but neither here nor there. He stars in this. The ending is absolutely, what the fuck? I can't believe you did an ending like that. The gore in this movie is like unexpected, which I guess shouldn't be for a Cabin Fever movie. I love the way all three Cabin Fever movies are very different. The second one is sort of like Gutterballs, kind of, Nail Gun Massacre kind of crazy. Whereas this is genuinely scary, and it is genuinely gory, and, oh my God, like the fight scene between the two girls and they're falling apart with their zombie body parts, and I was just like, oh my God. But I loved this movie. I love the cast, which you'll hear a lot in this list. I love the story, the premise. And yeah, if you have not paid attention to Cabin Fever 3, Patient Zero, you should give it a chance, The Birth of Fear. I would love to have seen I would love to have seen a sequel to this because they really set it up. Sean acted great in this movie. All the cast did. And I was really, really shocked. I mean, for him to be as angry as he was that he is going to go and intentionally destroy the world is like a bit much. I mean, he turns out to be like through the movie you think he's like a hero, but he turns out to be the villain. You know, Sean Astin actually plays the villain, becomes the villain. And it just, I don't know, this movie is very deep, a lot deeper than you think. So yeah, that's number 8 from 2014, Cabin Fever, Patient Zero. And now, My Soul to Take. So, talk about a movie that has been shit on a lot. That is My Soul to Take. Everybody talking about how terrible it is, you know. And it upset me very much because Wes Craven loves this movie, was very, very happy with the outcome of this movie. He did it exactly the way he wanted it to do. He did not apologize for any of it, nor do I think that he should. I love the cast of this movie. I love the story of this movie. And just because it isn't as crazy and gore-festy as some, you know, I mean, I don't have to have that every single time. I can have a little bit more reserved horror movie on occasion. It's like that Cry Wolf, you know. I mean, the theatrical version of Cry Wolf is shit. But, you know, if you actually get, you know, like that one with John Bon Jovi in it, if you actually get the unrated Cry Wolf, which also has one of my favorite theme songs of all time by, oh shit, I forgot their name and I've got all of their albums. But anyway, but it's like that movie. The unrated version of Cry Wolf, the unrated edition, is actually a pretty good little horror movie. I mean, what do you expect? John Bon Jovi to be in something with lots of blood and guts? It's not gonna happen with his goody two-shoe self. But yeah, Wes Craven, I've seen several interviews, you know, with Wes Craven about this movie. He was kind of hurt by his fan base who shit on this movie so much. And I agree with him. I think My Soul to Take is a fantastic, engaging, entertaining horror movie that doesn't happen to be, you know, as out there as maybe Scream or other stuff like that. But I appreciate what he did, and I stood by his side. You know, I stand by his side. He never apologized for this movie, and he never, you know, he's like, I am happy with what it did regardless of whether you people like it or not. And I admire that, and I am glad that he stood up and said that. And so yeah, I stand by his side. My Soul to Take is a great movie. I understood what he was doing, and I enjoyed what he was doing, and I love this movie, regardless of all the people who shit on this movie. So yes, number 7 from 2010 was My Soul to Take. And now we move on to number 6. John Carpenter, Ghosts of Mars. Hopefully when I get over this flu, I'll be able to finally do the videos on them. But this is John Carpenter's Ghosts of Mars. It is shit on a great deal. I was so happy to get this motherfucker. And it will be in my update that I'm going to film next. But yes, I love Ice Cube. I love the girl from Species, Nastasia Henstridge, right? Is that her name? And then, of course, we have Foxy Brown. So I love the cast. This is extremely underrated, in my opinion. Everybody shits on it. I don't know why. But then again, I don't know why they hate movies that I love. But this is the Indicator remaster of this, which I'm very glad to have finally gotten, as I will repeat again in the update. I love everything about this movie. I love its cheesiness. I love its atmosphere. I love its dialogue. And I just wish she was in it more. Foxy Brown, you know what I mean? I wish she was in it more. But yeah, John Carpenter did a great job. It is his most underrated, in my opinion, along with The Ward with Amber Heard. I like both of those movies a great deal, and you can't please everyone all the time, and he found that out as he got shit on for Ghost of Mars. But Ghost of Mars is a fantastic movie. I love the action, I love the gore, I love the fight scenes. It's just crazy. The movie is just crazy, and it's a crazy fun time. Now we're going to move on to number 5. And we're going to talk about Curse of Chucky and Cult of Chucky. Curse of Chucky was from 2013. Cult of Chucky was from 2017. I absolutely adore both of these movies. I was so glad when Curse of Chucky came out. These are the unrated versions. Because with the horror community, I'm kind of flipped, like the opposite, because I absolutely hate Bride of Chucky and Seed of Chucky. I cannot stand those two movies. Chucky was dead. The franchise was dead to me. I did not like Bride. I do not like Seed, which is kind of the opposite, because most people like Bride and Seed and hate Curse and Cult. But Curse of Chucky and Cult of Chucky were back to form. We're scary again. We're back to the real Chucky. And it's a shame. Well, they did continue. The series continues after Cult. So it is the same universe and the same timeline. But yeah, Curse of Chucky, Cult of Chucky, shit on by many and adored by moi. So I really like both of these. I enjoy watching them again. When I watch a Chucky marathon, it's 1, 2, 3, Curse, Cult, and the series. And I don't mind the reboot. It's just like a separate thing to me. But I always skip Seed and Bride of Chucky. I can't stand them. So, yeah, a lot of people like them and hate these. And I'm the opposite. I love these, and I hate Seed and Bride. And there you go. So, that was number 5, Cult and Curse of Chucky. Now on to number 4, we have Stephen King's Maximum Overdrive. Fucking masterpiece. Oh no, Stephen King was like fucked up on drugs. Well, you know what? You can go pick up the nearest AC/DC album and say, and replace the words to Back in Black with Kiss My Ass all day long. Because Maximum Overdrive is fucking phenomenal. From the opening credits to the ending credits, it's a badass movie. We have that little squeaky, that squeaky voiced girl, and her boyfriend. I'm telling you, John, I'm gonna kick your ass. She is phenomenal. And then, of course, the only one they could have thrown that. Well, then again, that's personal. I was just gonna say they could have thrown that black-headed bitch out the movie. But then, it's just because, you keep your hands off fucking Emilio Estevez, because I will kick your ass if you put your hands on him. But in any event, we have t-shirt wearing, that nice tight t-shirt. Yes, we have Emilio Estevez in that t-shirt through the whole movie. Anyway, where was I? Oh, Maximum Overdrive. I mean, my God. You have a Coke machine killing people with 12-ounce cans of Coke. A Pepsi to the forehead. It was gory, too. It was pretty cool. So, I don't care what people think, 1986's Maximum Overdrive is the shit. People hate it. I love it. They love to talk all kinds of shit about it. I could care less, because Maximum Overdrive is an absolute blast, especially this, the collector's series, the remaster. So yeah, I love the soundtrack, of course. I love the movie. I love the Green Goblin. But yeah, I mean, it's just crazy, We made you. We made you. Then it shot that bitch all up. It's hilarious. It's great. And I don't know. I don't know what people's problem is with it, but I do know a lot of people hate it, and I do not. So it gets my award as number 4 from 1986, Maximum Overdrive. And moving on to number 3, we have I'll Always Know What You Did Last Summer. I'm going to let that sink in. Just let it sink in. You have no fucking idea how thrilled I was when they did a reprint and actually released a new reprint of this on Blu-ray so I could finally get my fucking hands on it. I like the first, the original, of course, is a masterpiece. I love the second, and I love the third. And boy, do people, shit on it. It's cheap B-movie. And I'm like, well, fuck you then. See, I had the DVD. Now I've got the Blu-ray, and I am so happy. I love the atmosphere. I love the cinematography in this movie. And I love the way that they brought him back. I mean, how were you going to bring him back? He was dead in the second one. So I was very impressed at how they were able to resurrect him like Candyman. They turned him into a Candyman type entity. And the kills in this movie are fantastic. I love the cast in this movie. I love the way that it played out. Of course, my favorite character got killed early on, which kind of pissed me off. But I like everything about this movie. It's just a comfort movie to me. And I find it hilarious that people hate it, And I'm like, y'all just, I don't know. It's why I hate critics so much and reviewers who because, I'm neither one of those. I don't review movies. I'm not a critic, and I'm not a reviewer. I have film discussions on movies I like or dislike. But I get so tired of seeing everybody just bitch and moan and whine. And it's like every reviewer I see and every critic I see, it's like 1 out of every 30 fucking movies. You have to, you sit there and listen to them whine about a movie. And maybe 1 out of every 30 movies that they do a video on, they actually go, well, this was all right. And I'm like, wow, my God, I'm glad you finally found fucking something. So it's like nobody can be satisfied with anything, it seems. That's why I'm so glad that I'm not a reviewer or a critic. Because I just want to talk, I just love film and I love movies, and I am not watching a movie trying to pick it apart and figure out what parts I want to bitch about later. So, well, anyway, that was a little rant. I've got the flu, so I can be as fucking pissy as I want. But, yeah, I love this movie. I love the third act. I love the climax. I love the way it ends. And, they ended it in a way that you can continue making. They just turned it into a supernatural franchise. He's now he's now Candyman. So I really liked that, and I always like more of something that I love, and I love this franchise, and I wish they would make another one. They can bring Mr. Hook right on back. He was still going strong when the movie ended, so bring him back, in my opinion. But yes, that's I Always Know What You Did Last Summer. People Hate, from 2006. People hate it. I adore it. I love it. I had to pay like $15 for this motherfucker to get it on Blu-ray. And I'm very thrilled to have done so. Now we're moving on to number 2. The Haunting of Sharon Tate. It's got a nice little 3-point whatever on International Movie Database, but then again, so does a hell of a lot of horror. If you want to be shocked, find a fucking horror movie on International Movie Database or Letterboxd or Rotten Tomatoes that's got more than a 5 out of 10. Man, we are a hated community. You understand? That's why we need to stick together. Y'all need to quit shitting on each other. The Haunting of Sharon Tate was released in 2019. Maybe because I am such a true fan aficionado, a true crime fan. Maybe because I am so familiar with the Manson family. I've seen so many documentaries. I saw the series Aquarius, which I loved. I saw the movies, Helter Skelter and stuff like that. I've, of course, seen a bazillion documentaries. I watched one recently. Yeah, I did. A couple weeks ago, I watched another one that I hadn't seen before. And maybe that's why I love this movie so much. But Hilary Duff in The Haunting of Sharon Tate, this movie did so many things so right. After having seen so much about the Manson family, even though this is just a fantasy, to see them turn the tables on the Manson family, and as bloody and gory as this movie is, because let me tell you, the kill scenes are very, very difficult to watch. And then later on, the fantasy kill scenes where, they turn the tables, and instead of Sharon and Wojciech and all of them getting killed, it's the other way around. I can't tell you how satisfying that was to see them kill the Manson family instead of the other way around. So this movie did something really special to me, and although people shit on it left and right, I absolutely adore this movie. I know I've already seen it like 5 or 6 times since I got it. And it is definitely one of my favorite horror movies of the decade was this movie, The Haunting of Sharon Tate. And it comes in at number 2. And that brings us to the end of the beginning. As we go full circle in the top 10, aside from the honorable mentions, we started out with what? We started out with Rob Zombie's Halloween at number 10. And at number 1, we're going to end with Masterpiece number 1, Masterpiece number 2, and Masterpiece number 3. The 2018 Halloween trilogy. I fucking adore it. The vitriol, the violence, the absolute insanity that I witnessed over the years that these 3 movies were released was almost mental. I'm like, you fucking people are crazy. I mean, people were like death threatening each other over these fucking movies. And I'm like, you got some serious issues you need to resolve with a qualified therapist, in my opinion. But now there is one thing different, and that is that I do not remove Halloween 2 from this timeline. I'm not really sure why people, they're like, oh, well, this timeline is supposed to be Halloween, Halloween, Halloween Kills, and Halloween Ends. And I'm like, okay, I understand, but why am I supposed to remove Halloween 2? I think it mentions there is she's his sister or something. I'm like, well, okay, but can't you just I don't even really remember that much, but okay. But never mind, I'm not going to. Well, okay, well, you don't have to. Okay, well, I'm not. All right, well, don't. I won't. So when I watch this timeline, I watch Halloween, the original Halloween, Halloween 2, Halloween 2018, Halloween Kills, and Halloween Ends, and it works out perfectly fine. So I love it. When all of the hatred came out about these movies, and interestingly enough, this movie sat in my collection for 3 years before I watched it, because when the trilogy was announced, I made a vow, and I wanted to see if I could hold myself to that vow, and I did. And that was despite having to see, all I ever saw was the previews, but despite having to hear and see the vitriol and the screaming and the hollering and the stuff that went on between people wanting to kill each other and stuff like that, I actually did not watch this trilogy until all three had been released at the theater, came out on physical, and I had them in my hands. So when this came out, I bought it. When this came out, I bought it. And when this came out, I bought it. And then I was finally able to have all three of them. And I was able to sit down for the very first time and watch the trilogy back to back, having never seen it before. And it was so cool. Granted that, that took years, but I've got 2,600 movies. There's other stuff for me to watch. So, I wanted to, but I didn't. I made a vow that I was not going to watch them until I could watch it together. And it was a very unique experience. I don't think a lot of people got to do that or could claim to have done that. So I think it was very interesting that I watched all three of these for the first time together. And this literally sat on my shelf for 3 or 4 years before I got to watch it, because I was doing this vow thing. But I love the way that they ended this trilogy. I love Halloween Ends. I love everything about it. I love Jamie Lee Curtis. I love the way it all came together. There were little things, of course. I do wish they had introduced the boy a little earlier, But when it all comes down to it, these are all fucking 9.5 out of 10s to me. So, masterpiece. Masterpiece. I don't care what anybody says. I know everybody hates them, but I do not. So, at number 1, we have the 2018 Halloween trilogy, which to me is absolutely fucking phenomenal. It satisfied me. I loved it. I loved everything about it. I loved everything about these 3 movies. And that ends. We have Halloween at number 1. The Haunting of Sharon Tate from 2019 at number 2. I'll Always Know What You Did Last Summer from 2006 at number 3. Maximum Overdrive from 1986. Stephen King's Maximum Overdrive comes in at number 4. We have Cult and Curse 2013 and 2017 respectively coming in as hated horror that I adore. At number 5, we have John Carpenter's misunderstood masterpiece, Ghosts of Mars. We have Wes Craven in his second entry into this little video with My Soul to Take from 2010, in which I stand by his side. I love it. We have Cabin Fever, Patient Zero, coming from 2014, in at number 8. We have Quarantine 2, and my little bitch about, foreign horror. But we have Quarantine 2 Terminal from 2011, coming in at number 9, and Rob Zombie's Halloween 1 and 2, coming in at number 10. Then we had honorable mentions of Stranded, The Breed, and Day of the Dead, which I love, and Winnie the Pooh. And that will do it. I will be back with my April update, since those are things I can do without showing you how fucking sick I am. And I will see you in the next thing I do. Love you, miss you. Bye-bye. Always remember, never forget, you're a very, very special person. Please let me know in the comments, do you have any particular movies? First of all, do you hate these movies like other people do? Or is there some of these movies that you love too that people mostly hate? Do you have a nice little list that you could advise me of movies that you love, that you think the horror movie hates in general? And yes, me and Five Finger Death Punch will be back shortly. Let me know what you think. Let me know if any of your favorite movies that you think the horror movie hates, that you are an outsider and rebel about, in the comments below. I'd love to read it. Bye-bye.